All right, praise the Lord. Quick bot shot to give you all the idea that I know what I'm talking about. Put 9 spotted bass in the boat today with the precision trolling techniques and 5 keepers in the ice box. Now, after prayer, and we always want to pray and ask the Lord for success, and we want to thank the Lord for success in all that we do, because Jesus is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So he answers our prayers and helps us catch lots of fish. But I want to talk about some of the detailed techniques a little more, because I see lots of people trolling on Lanier, and if you're catching all the fish you want to catch, don't let me give you the impression I think you're doing it wrong. But if you're not catching all the fish you want to catch, maybe you can learn a little something from me. One of the things I see is that people will troll Lanier and they'll only set out 2 or 3 lines, one left, one right, and one straight back. And I just don't think that's the best way to do it, because Lanier doesn't have the numbers of fish that, say, Parks Hill has or that Oconee has. The fish are kind of spread out in Lanier, so you have to give yourself a little better odds numerically. So I'm trolling 8 rods at one time, and so let me explain how that works and how you do it without getting them all tangled up. I use line counter reels on most of them, with a couple spinning reels with Power Pro Depth Hunter to set the lures a specified distance back. Okay, so that front left rod right there, it has a larger Walker deeper diver on it, and it's set to 3 left. So it's not just running straight back, it's pulling out to the side, to the left a little bit, to give the lure some horizontal separation. All right, so that's the front left rod. The mid left rod has that same Walker deeper diver, but it's set at 1.5 left. So it's not pulling as far to the left. And both of those line counter reels, they're set 50 feet out, which corresponds to about 20 or 25 feet back when the boat is trolling at 2 miles an hour, which is my preferred trolling speed most of the time. All right, now the third rod on the left side as you go back is the spinning rod. It's got Power Pro Depth Hunter on it, and that's actually trolling a topwater lure, a whopper plopper, and that's an 8-foot rod, so that one goes a little higher, a little further out to the side, but more or less straight back from the end of the rod. And the fourth one back on the left side is running a little smaller Walker deeper diver. I think it's a size 82, which probably is a diameter 82 millimeters. And so that one, if you let it out about 100 feet, then that one's about 20 feet back. So that's the 4 rods on the left side of the boat. And with care, they don't get tangled most of the time. Sometimes if you make turns too tight, or if you get a fish on, yeah, you can tangle them up in those circumstances, but it's worth running the 4, and it's pretty easy to get them untangled. All right, so let's switch to the right side of the boat. It's the same thing in reverse. The front right rod has a larger Walker deeper diver set to 3 right. So it trolls 50 feet back, which puts it about 20 feet down. The middle right rod also has a line counter reel on it, and it's got a Walker deeper diver set to 1.5 right. And it's 50 feet back, and it might be as deep as 25 feet down. All right, now the third rod, as you're moving from front to back on the right side, is an 8-foot rod with a spinning reel, and it's running a Berkley Frenzy lure about 175 feet back, and that lure is not going to get any deeper than about 5 feet regardless of how far you put it back. All right, now the fourth rod on the right side, another line counter reel. It's running a smaller Walker deeper diver, size 82, and it's running it 100 feet back, which puts it about 20 feet down. And the ones in the way back, the 2 smaller Walker deeper divers, might not have mentioned this before, but they're set to 0, so they're running straight back. So that's how we troll 8 lures at a time without getting them tangled up. And because there aren't like a gajillion fish in Lanier, we like to give them a chance, get lots of lures out there. And that allows us to do some other things too, like when fish tell us which lure they're liking that day, we can switch over some of the other rods to those lures. Or if the fish tell us what depth they're liking, we can switch some of the other rods to that depth. So if you're only fishing 2 or 3 rods out or lines out when you're trolling and not catching as many fish as you like, refine your technique. Put more rods out. I learned these techniques from a Lake Erie charter boat captain named Chris Sutton. He was actually able to troll 12 lines out at one time, but he used side planer boards, pulling 3 lines way out to the left and way out to the right on Lake Erie, and he could turn around with those rigs on Lake Erie, but I don't see how to run that many out here on Lake Lanier. God bless.